because hell is real. It's a real place. I know I've been to that motherfucker, and it ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie to you. I was a praying motherfucker. The 40 seconds I was dead, I was down in hell, man. I was getting tortured, man. My body turned into metallic element, man. And I could feel these hooks in my flesh, man. These coils was hooked up to this flame.
Hey, you know, I was definitely like, when I was young, I was just interested in everything that they were talking about because I looked up to them at the time. So if they called themselves the devil's this, then I called myself the devil's that, but it wasn't
right. The devil's daughter. He was back then. Yeah.
The coils would heat up, and my body would turn red hot. I'm saying my body would actually turn like you stick sword in fire when you make it a sword and they beat it and they turn to steel red hot. That's how my body was doing, and they would heat me up, of course, and they'll raise me up way up into space. And they would slam my body back down to the pits of hell, and they would heat me up, man. We did that over and over, man, and I could feel every bit of it. I was legally dead, and I could feel every bit of it.
Let's break it down. We've got Lord Infamous, DJ Paul, Juicy J, Gangsta Boo, Cultivating, and Crunchy Black, straight out of Memphis. They joined forces back in the 90s to create something the rap game had never seen before, the one and only 3-6 Mafia. This crew didn't just make noise, they shook the whole industry. Their music was gritty, eerie, and unapologetically raw, making them one of the most talked about groups in hip-hop history. But their rise to fame wasn't smooth, nah. It came with heavy controversy. People started calling them devil worshippers, thanks to their dark lyrics, haunting samples, and horror-inspired beats. That eerie sound, it had folks either bumping their tracks or side-eyeing them with suspicion. Still, all that controversy didn't stop their hustle. It made them bigger, more mysterious, and harder to ignore. 3-6 Mafia became legends. And today, even though half of the original members have sadly passed on, fans are still obsessed. Folks online have been digging deep into their music, pulling out wild theories about what it all really meant, talking secret messages, curses, and hidden meanings. Their music had Memphis written all over it. Hard-hitting bass, wild hi-hats, creepy melodies. It was a whole vibe. They shaped that dirty South sound and inspired a whole new wave of Southern rap that's still felt in the game today.
And then I started DJing as a way just to promote our music.
Right.
So I would make mixtapes where I would be playing like the hottest artists like NWA, LL Cool J, Public Enemy, whatever. Then I would ease in one of our songs.
Yes.
And then I would come to school the next day and they'd be like, hey man, what was that fourth song on there? I'm like, I gotta think, I don't know. That was me, You like it? Huh? You like it? Huh?
But let's not forget how it all began. DJ Paul and Lord Infamous were the brains behind the original duo called the Serial Killers. They were just teenagers recording tracks in their rooms and pressing up their own mixtapes. They'd slide in their original beats between mainstream hits and pass them around school and the neighborhood. That hustle was real. They didn't wait for a chance. They made one. Their twisted creativity and bold, rebellious energy set the tone for a group that would become one of the most influential in hip-hop history. These guys were on a serious grind from the jump. DJ Paul straight up said they were hustling heavy just to fund their music, pushing whatever they had to in order to press up those cassette tapes. By senior year, he claimed he was already sitting on $50,000 and riding around in a flashy $10,000 whip. That's wild for a high school kid. Around that time, he linked up with Juicy J, who was already gaining traction in the Memphis DJ scene. Together with Lord Infamous, the original trio was born, and the foundation of 3-6 Mafia was laid down. Later on, they brought in Cultivating, Gangsta Boo, and Crunchy Black, turning that raw underground squad into a full-blown powerhouse. But even their name started drama from the jump. 3-6 Mafia had folks raising eyebrows left and right. The first thing critics latched onto, that it sounded like 666, the so-called number of the beast.
You guys were extremely close growing up.
Yeah.
And was it you or was it him that brought the horrorcore? Because who was
Really both of us.
Okay,
because
so
both of us love to watch horror movies.
What's your favorite one?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre original.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
A lot of people jumped to conclusions calling them devil worshippers without understanding where the dark vibe was really coming from. But the truth, Lord Infamous and DJ Paul were just major horror movie buffs. That creepy cinematic energy naturally bled into their beats and lyrics. It wasn't some secret satanic message. And as for the name, there's a few stories floating around. One version says Lord Infamous dropped 666 in a freestyle during a studio session, and Paul thought it sounded hard, so they ran with it. Another version from a 1998 Rap City interview had Paul saying the group was originally called 3 Mafia when it was just him, Lord, and Juicy. Once the squad grew with new members, they switched it to 3-6 Mafia to reflect the full crew. Back in the 90s, people were losing their minds over anything that even sounded satanic in music, movies, or pop culture. There was full-blown panic, like folks seriously thought devil worship was taking over the airwaves. So when 3-6 Mafia popped up with a name that some thought hinted at 666, it set off alarms. Let's be real. They probably leaned into that edgy vibe on purpose. The shock factor was part of their image, but they never openly said, yeah, it means 666, because they knew the backlash would have been next level.
We started off, it was when it was the 3 of us, and it was me, Lord Emergence, and Juice. And we was the 3, we was like the 3 Mafia there, we were known around like that. Then we got the other 3 members, we turned it into the 3-6 Mafia to try to keep that name, keep that same fan base.
Okay.
Trey 6 Mafia like that 3-6.
Oh, okay, all right.
Remember, their original name was the Serial Killers. They were already towing the line. And honestly, it ain't that far-fetched to think they used the devilish angle to stir the pot without fully owning it. But here's the twist. The controversy around 3-6 Mafia didn't only come from the name. It ran deeper. Their sound was raw and haunting, and that only fueled the whispers. One of the longest running rumors that one of their biggest tracks had a hidden satanic message in the beat. People swear there's a creepy voice tucked in the background of one of their most iconic songs, a faint melody that some claim is actually saying, "Lucifer, we love you." Yeah, it's super distorted, so you can barely catch it, but conspiracy heads ran with it. Honestly, saying their music was full-on devil worship might be reaching, but that didn't stop people from saying it. Even if their lyrics weren't literally praising the devil, folks still claimed the whole vibe of their music felt straight from the underworld. That dark, aggressive energy had people shook. 3-6 Mafia wasn't out here doing polished gangster rap or that high-energy Memphis crunk. Nah, they were deep in the underground, cooking up horrorcore and dirty rap that sounded like nightmares on wax. Their tracks weren't made for the radio. They were made to rattle your speakers and mess with your head. Their influences weren't just hip-hop either. Lord Infamous and DJ Paul were heavy into rock music, especially the wild, chaotic stuff. They pulled that raw, destructive power straight into their sound. They weren't just trying to entertain, they wanted to shake the room.
Grew up on rock music, and I think that's what contributed to making the 3-6 Mafia sound, and the rowdiness and the wildness, like tear the club up, hit a and stuff like that. It came from me growing up on rock music.
That rebellious, chaotic vibe got so intense, one of their late 90s tracks actually got banned from clubs. Why? Because people were straight up wrecking the place when the song dropped. Furniture flying, floors shaking, pure madness. Some folks pointed to this as proof that 3-6 Mafia was making devil's music meant to stir up chaos. But things didn't stay underground forever. When the 2000s hit, 3-6 Mafia's style evolved big time. They kept their edge but sharpened it for the mainstream, and it worked. That era was the peak of their commercial success. They dropped 2 platinum-certified albums, stacked up hit after hit on the charts. And then, boom, in 2006, they made history.
And the Oscar goes to... It's hard out here for a pill. Oh my God. Jordan Houston.
Hey, we want to thank Keith Young, our choreographer. Yes. Man, help me out. Whole Sony Records, Lisa Ellis, our moms, our whole family.
Thank you, Jesus.
Selecto Hits for giving us a chance. The Academy, we love the Academy. You know what I'm saying? Gil Case, everybody, man.
We love you.
Hell, I got plenty of time left. I don't know nobody else.
3-6 Mafia became the first rap group ever to win an Oscar. 3-6. Mafia hit the ultimate high in 2006 when they took home the Oscar for their track It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp, featured in the movie Hustle and Flow. That moment was unforgettable, especially with Queen Latifah handing them the award live on stage. For a group that started with underground mixtapes and horrorcore beats, this was a level no one ever imagined they'd reach. But even with all that mainstream success, the rumors and satanic whispers never died out. If anything, they got louder. While they were making money moves, showing up on MTV with their own reality show, and even producing Mark Henry's theme song for WWE, things behind the scenes were getting messy. The group looked unstoppable on the outside, but the cracks were starting to show on the inside. Stanika was the first to dip out in the early 2000s. He had run-ins with the law, and once 3-6 Mafia locked in a major deal with Sony Records, those legal issues clashed with the label's demands.
We need to ask you, you know what I'm saying? Now, how do you fit into the whole equation? You know?
Spice. I put all the spice in the group and tell them what's right from wrong. They get mad at me though, but it's still all love.
Because of that, he had to be officially removed from the group. Not long after, Gangsta Boo followed suit in 2001. Her exit came with layers. She spoke on disagreements about how her solo work was being handled, plus complications tied to her past relationship with DJ Paul. On top of that, she started finding religion and decided to shift her lifestyle. She even changed her name to Lady Boo. And way back in that Rap City interview in '98, she kind of foreshadowed it all, saying she felt like she was the moral center of the group. But don't get it twisted. Just because Gangsta Boo eventually walked away doesn't mean she wasn't deep in that dark energy back in the day. She was fully into the horrorcore scene and didn't hide it. In fact, in an interview, she even admitted she used to call herself the devil's daughter. She talked about how the group would speak in coded language, almost like they were playing with their fans, dropping eerie lines that sounded mysterious or sinister on purpose just to mess with people's heads. Back in the 2000s, things kept shifting. Lord Infamous, who many fans consider the best lyricist in the whole crew, also had to leave. Just like Stanika, he ran into legal trouble and ended up getting arrested, which violated his contract with Sony. And just like that, another original member was out. So when 3-6 Mafia hit the stage to accept their Oscar in 2006, only 3 of them were still standing: DJ Paul, Juicy J, and Crunchy Black. But even that didn't last.
Fans.
Hey, you know, I was definitely like, when I was young, I was intrigued with what's what, you know, New World Order around that time. I was just interested in everything that they were talking about because I looked up to them at the time. So if they called themselves the devil's this, then I called myself the devil's that. But it wasn't
right, the devil's daughter. He was back then. Yeah.
I called myself Gangsta Boo, the devil's daughter. and you know, people were scared that we used to have our own language, that we talked to like not trick fans, but just it was I wouldn't say it was a character, but you know what I'm saying? With entertainment.
Yeah, like a horror movie. It's entertaining.
Crunchy left not long after, leaving the Mafia as just a 2-man operation. Fans started connecting the dots, saying it all looked too suspicious. Some conspiracy theorists claim the group's slow collapse was payback for their success, that their fame came at a spiritual cost. The story spun into full-on Illuminati territory, with people saying they'd sold out to dark forces and were now paying the price member by member. But there was one more who left the crew early on: Delmar Lawrence, also known as Mr. Del. He was behind the scenes writing tracks and helping shape the group's sound. In 2000, he made a hard left turn, walking away from the partying, drugs, and street life to embrace Christian rap. He said that wild lifestyle left him feeling completely hollow inside, and he had to find something real to fill that emptiness. Mr. Del wasn't just the first to leave. He was also the first to speak out about the group in a serious way. He distanced himself completely and never looked back.
But after you witness all of that, you're like, is that it? My soul felt empty, you know, like it was no purpose in what I was doing. I always wanted something with meaning, something with passion, something that not only people can feel, but I can feel, and I can feel proud to do. I remember I wasn't proud when, you know, my songs were played in front of my mother or my nephew.
But he wasn't the only one who stirred the pot. Both Lord Infamous and Crunchy Black made wild statements over the years, talking openly about the devil and even claiming to have had near-death experiences tied to dark forces. Lord Infamous once said, "I was legally dead and I could feel every bit of it." Chilling stuff. Crunchy Black echoed similar stories in interviews, describing terrifying moments where he felt like the devil himself was torturing him. Whether they meant it literally or were just expressing pain, through extreme imagery, it added fuel to the fire for people already convinced the group was wrapped up in something demonic. And things only got darker when tragedy started to strike. The 2010s brought serious heartbreak for 3 6 Mafia fans. In December 2013, Lord Infamous passed away at just 40 years old. He died from a heart attack caused by a drug overdose, right at his mother's house. Then in October 2015, Koopsta Nika also died at age 40, following a massive stroke. And the most recent and shocking loss came in 2023, when Gangsta Boo passed away at just 43 years old after accidentally overdosing on white powder laced with fentanyl.
Because hell is real. It's a real place. I know I've been to that mother, and it ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie to you. I was a praying mother. The 40 seconds I was dead, I was down in hell, man. I was getting tortured, man. My body turned into metallic element, man. And I feel these hooks in my flesh, man. And these coils was hooked up to this flame, and the coils would heat up, and my body.
She had a history with cocaine, but reports say she had no clue the batch was cut with something deadly. Drug use had always been a part of the group's image. Another reason critics linked them to that so-called devil worship vibe. But once the deaths started piling up, the conspiracies exploded. 3 6 Mafia didn't just rap about drugs, they lived it, full throttle. The crew was known for diving into all kinds of substances, and they didn't hold back in their lyrics either. They bragged about it, celebrated it, and made it part of the brand. But years later, Juicy J looked back on that lifestyle with regret. In an interview on the 50th of Hip Hop podcast with Nas and Miss Info, he opened up about just how deep the addiction ran and how it tore the group apart from the inside. He said straight up, from weed to cocaine, all kinds of pills, a lot of drugs were consumed during the times we were together. When everybody was sober, everybody was on the same page. But when cocaine's involved, you know, things change. But I'm not pointing the finger at nobody. It happened. It's the drug.
Turned red hot. I'm saying my body would actually turn like you stick sword in fire when you make it a sword and they beat it into shape and they turn to steel red hot. That's how my body was going. And they would heat me up, of course, and they'll raise me up way up into space. And they would slam my body back down to the pits of hell. And they would heat me up, man. We did that over and over, man. And I could feel every bit of it. I was legally dead, and I could feel every bit of it.
I can't think of nothing else. That was the main thing really messing everything up. People weren't showing up to the studio. People weren't handling business. The business was crazy, and everything just folded. It's just the drugs. That honesty hit hard, and it didn't stop there. Juicy even shared one heartbreaking moment with Lord Infamous that still haunted him. He described how he once had to break into Lord Infamous's hotel room because he thought something terrible had happened. I had to bust up in Lord Infamous' room before, Juicy said, and I was almost in tears. I thought the ninja was dead at first. He wasn't answering the phone. I was banging on the door. Nothing. So I had to go get the keys, break into the room, and I had to beat him with a pillow to wake him up. When Crunchy Black got asked if he agreed with Juicy J's take on drugs tearing the group apart, he kept it real. He admitted he was using all the time. His drug of choice? Cocaine. He made it clear he never messed with meth, but still, he called cocaine the worst of them all. That's saying something coming from someone who lived it day in and day out. These confessions just added more fuel to the long-standing theories that 3 6 Mafia wasn't just wild. They were working with some kind of dark force. The conspiracy crowd held onto every word, tying their drug use, dark lyrics, and tragic losses together into this big, twisted theory about Satanism.
There was no real satanic reasoning behind the name.
No.
The lore has always just kind of like your reputation precedes you.
Yeah. It was just an image. It was just something that was cool.
Right.
Like I said, we did, study like killers and stuff like that, but we never studied Satan or any of that. I don't know nothing about all that.
Yeah.
But DJ Paul's made it crystal clear over the years, it was all just entertainment. He said multiple times that the dark themes, the horror vibes, even the spooky names were just part of the show. He never claimed it was real. And when it came to Lord Infamous talking all that devil talk, Paul said he wasn't being serious. He was just high. He explained that both of them actually grew up in church, so all that evil stuff, just theatrics, nothing more. Still, the 3 6 Mafia are Satanists theory refuses to die. There's no solid proof, but it hangs on. Left over from the 90s and 2000s when folks were panicking over satanic messages and Illuminati symbols in hip-hop. It's become a myth that just keeps circling. Meanwhile, the surviving members of 3 6 Mafia are still out here doing their thing, dropping music, doing shows, and staying legendary. Even with all the drama, the losses, and the wild rumors that have followed them for decades, 3 6 Mafia's influence is still everywhere in today's rap game. Their sound laid the blueprint for so many of today's biggest artists. That dark, gritty, bass-heavy style, you hear it in trap beats, in underground mixtapes, even in mainstream hits. From A$AP Rocky to Suicide Boy, Megan Thee Stallion to Travis Scott, tons of artists have taken notes from the Mafia's original playbook. And let's be real, those eerie melodies, distorted vocals, and sinister vibes, that was 3 6 before anyone else was doing it like that. They made horrorcore cool, and they didn't even care if the world misunderstood it. While the media focused on rumors and fear, the fans knew what was up. They were listening to trendsetters who were years ahead of their time. Now, DJ Paul and Juicy J may have gone in different directions over the years, but the respect remains. They've both done solo projects, collaborations, and even reunions here and there. And when they hit the stage to perform those classics, the crowd still goes wild. The energy is timeless. The group might not look like it did in the 90s, but their legacy runs deep, deeper than all the rumors, all the conspiracies, and all the losses. What they built can't be undone. Whether you believe in the myths or not, the facts speak louder. 3 6 Mafia changed the game forever. Believe it or not, 3 6 Mafia popped back up at Coachella in 2025, sharing the stage with Machine Gun Kelly. That performance proved that even after all the controversy, losses, and theories, they're still a force. Whether you think they were devil worshippers or not, one thing's for sure. Nobody did it like them. And truthfully, we may never know the full story behind all the rumors, all the symbolism, or what was real versus just for show. What is clear, though, is that 3 6 Mafia built something legendary. In their sound, their style, their raw impact, it changed hip-hop forever. They took horrorcore and street music, mashed it together, and created a wave that's still crashing today. The streets remember, the fans still blast the classics, and their legacy, untouchable. Thanks for rocking with us on this wild ride through one of the most controversial and iconic rap groups in history. Make sure to like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what we uncover next. There's always more stories in the hood that need to be told. Stay tuned.